since 2020 after Sir left us. Okay. So this is Dr. Ruchi Jain, practicing predictive homeopathy since last 15 to 16 years in Nagpur. And we have been conducting continuous a series of sessions based upon the clinical experience of homeopathy based on the teachings of Dr. Praful Vijayakar sir and Dr. Samuel Hahnemann sir. We are very lucky enough that our family is expanding day by day. And I am grateful to you all that you have all joined us. So, taking ahead the blessings of our sir, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann sir, who has founded homeopathy and who has fought a lot for struggling mental cases at that time and the brutal treatment which was given in those golden days. So, he has given a beautiful guideline for mental diseases. So, today's topic, as we all know, is trying to understand the intellectual faculty of homeopathy or intellectual faculty, how we can use it in homeopathy. As we all know that Dr. Praful Vijayakar sir would always say, if you have it in the brain, your eyes will perceive. If you don't have the knowledge, your eyes will also not see if the mind does not perceive. So taking ahead beautifully, I'll take today a very grounded session which will be very helpful for all the students and also for the faculties who are practicing, all the physicians who are practicing at a primary level and even advanced cases. Why intellect is so important in evaluating a totality and how the intellect part of an individual is essential for evaluating the totality. So, as we all know, there are so many facets of totality we see. There are so many ways of building up a totality and coming to the right remedy. So, you have so many characters which are coming up, like it is, you see a person, there are emotions, a person is angry, aggressive, then a person is timid, shy. These are all emotions, right? Then we had a beautiful lecture which was based upon the moral values of the person. So moral values were like the person is very conscientious, the person is very diligent. As an individual, a person will have so many qualities within them, and therefore the whole constitution of this individual is being divided into the primary five sectors by Dr. Praful Vijayakar sir, like will, moral, intellect, behavior, and the emotions. So, as Hahnemann sir has rightly said, if you have to evaluate a complete totality, you have to take into consideration each facet of this part so that your totality is a perfect simillimum. Like if you find a person is very cheerful, a person is very talkative, then just don't take extrovert and prescribe sulfur, because extrovert is not equal to sulfur and loquacity is not equal to lachesis, right? So you have to actually understand the whole constitution and what are the various qualities of those patient which gives you a perfect simillimum. A simillimum will be incomplete if you don't consider the remedy along with the intellectual part also, the emotions also, the will of the person, the behavior of the person. Like just a person says, ki, I don't know how to understand mathematics, right? I don't know how to calculate. It doesn't mean the person is Baryta. It doesn't mean that the person has got that lacking capacity of having other intellectual faculties also. Because intellect, as you know, it's a very wide thing to consider to study. And in this lecture, in this whole session, which we are going to take today, really it was very tough for me to bring all the intellectual facets in one bucket or into one lecture, because it was so huge to study and it was so vast to understand. Okay. So when I started thinking about ki, chalo, we have talked about emotions. Everywhere they talk about emotion. Whenever we are taking the diseases, we talk about emotions. We talk about behavior of the person also. But when we talk about the intellectual part, is the mind and the brain same, where we will see the intellect, right? How we will connect to the patient at the intellectual level. What will be the different facets on which you have to analyze the person as intellectually, what level, and will we take it in the totality or not? So many questions have come up. right? So if a person is very intelligent, right? So will I consider it during the case taking? You can see ki in the world when we go, we get so many examples where everyone is having different intellectual capabilities. Like an example, I will say ki even in a small classroom where are 30 to 40 students and there is a same teacher who is teaching, right? And that same teacher who is teaching to the whole class at a one stretch, right? But every student sitting on that chair as a student of that teacher will not score the same marks, right? Someone will score beyond excellent, someone will score below excellent, and someone will just somewhere struggle to get passing marks. That doesn't mean that is now we understand that marks is not equal to the intellectual capabilities also. Because the person who might be scoring very less in the class might be very good in some other things, might be an excellent sportsman, might have got a good sensitive emotional part where he can understand the language of animals, he can understand the emotions of the individual. So then a question arises ki, can this intellect help us to differentiate various constitutions in evaluating the complete totality and coming to the rubric analysis? And how will this intellectual capabilities help? As we said, ki I was discussing about this example in a classroom where so many students are there. If I ask them to play a game also, like being a child, if I remember myself, I was never good at indoor games. I never knew how to strike a carom board, or even if I would strike it, it was never perfect. I never got the goals achieved. And I could not calculate the difference between left hand and right hand for a very long time, right? So there was a lot of pressure which was building up. Ki, will I be ever successful in my practice, or will I be able to do something in my life so that things, will I be able to help it, or will I be able to? It's going well. You all can see the slides, right? Yeah. So there were so many doubts which came up. So in today's world, because it is being analyzed, it is being said that only intellectual people are given that value, and only intellectual people are given that matlab you are intelligent in the class, so there will be a lot of favorism and everything. So even in a small class, when it is the same teacher, when the material given to the children are same, the books given to the children are same, and even the teacher who is delivering the session is the same, then why people perceive it in their own capacity? Why then everyone doesn't score the same marks? So this is where the things start. Everyone has got an different intellectual capabilities, and according to that, a constitution is built up. So from where this is being connected to homeopathy and how we can connect it to understand in analysis of a case, then I went, yes, if it is important, because even Hahnemann sir has mentioned it in the aphorisms, this is very important. So that means you cannot skip the words of our masters, right? And when you read the stalwarts, you will understand that every stalwart has evolved his own totality, evolved his own structuralization of the books according to the experience they had in the life, and according to their own intellectual experiences they had through the practice. देखिए फिर से यहाँ पे एप्लीकेशन विंडो ना दो खुल गई, फिर से दो बैकग्राउंड खुल गए. Sure. So understanding importance in case analysis and understanding importance of this intellectual faculty, how we can take it ahead in organon of medicine. This was where, because we know human brain is having no boundaries, and as Hahnemann sir said, there are basic qualities of physician which is very much required for us to understand. But this will also require some intellectual capabilities of the physician, so that the physician can achieve this mission of curing the sick to health. But this will be only possible when we are able to perceive everything which is being guided by him in the organon of medicine and implication of all the knowledge of the physicians. So after aphorism number 1, he has stressed upon aphorism number 3 also, which he has given such a long aphorism where he's talking about the intellectual capabilities required for a physician, where he's also talking about the knowledge of a physician which a physician should have. That all involves not only the intellectual assessment of the patient, but also the intellectual capability of a physician to become a good healer or to become a rational physician of this healing science. So we need high moral, we need even good intellect to become a successful homeopath, which is also required from the physician standpoint of view also. So as we all know, when two people of the same disease, they don't have the same perfect symptoms which are coming up, then how is it possible that we can give the same medicine to the same constitutions, to different constitutions who are coming to us? Similarly, this facet of individualization is not only at the medicinal level, but also individualization is at different levels of the personality, in which intellect also plays a very important role. Like morals, I will say, every person who is going to the school, every student who is going to the school will not have equal diligence. Even if children are born out of parents, one parent, then also 5 children have got different moral values, they have got different capabilities, they have got different ambitions in life, they have their different stress handling capability. Someone goes very excellent in the life, they grow economically very well, whereas the other individual is more sensitive, more attached to the parents, clinging, and doesn't like to go out of that comfort zone and doesn't work so hard to gain success in life. So there you also, the children who are born even from the same womb at the same time in twins, you will see there is so much of difference. I have so many twins coming to me and I can see there is a marked difference even if they are from the same time of birth. They are like what we say ki identical twins, still they have so much of difference in their own personalities. So if you say this will help in individualization a lot, okay? So how, and because as we know the whole constitution is made up of different facets, and the whole, who, if we have to treat the man in disease and not the disease in man, we have to consider each facet of the individual coming to the totality. Before coming to the totality, the analysis needs to be very perfect and we need to be very grounded on our roots. As we have already taken that our ground needs to be very strong, so we need to understand what the whole constitution is made up of. Is he introvert or introvert? What is his will? He's weak-willed, he's strong-willed, he's courageous, or he's too timid to fight to the situation. What is his confidence level? Is he very confident or he is having low confidence? What is his intellectual capabilities? That is what we are going to take in today's session. Then what are his moral values? In moral values, as we all know, we have seen the whole session series of morals where we have taken up how moral affects the individual and what are the different rubrics which will come under morals. And this session you can see in my YouTube channel, which is still there because we have already taken sessions on will and morals. Then there are different defense processes which a person will take. What are these defense processes? As we all know, as per the individual intellectual capability or as per the person's capacity, the person will perceive whatever is there in the environment and will throw back in the environment as well according to the own defenses, right? So when it comes to an individual reaction, if I throw a stone over here, it is not necessary that everyone will throw it back on me. Someone will not have that courage to throw it back on me. Someone will keep it in the pocket and will take an opportunity in the future that whenever he faces my back, he will just hit me. So everything will depend upon the constitution who is suffering or the constitution who is coming to us, right? Similarly, everyone will have not the same speed. Now, if I ask when I'm talking, someone says ki ma'am, you talk very fast, right? So please slow down your speed. Your voice goes very high. So please can you calm down? Whenever you're talking, your speech is so much fast that I cannot understand anything. Whereas someone says, no, ma'am, I find it very optimum to my capacity, to my level, and I can easily grasp whatever you're talking, even if it is in speed, right? So, what is that? So, speed will even be a part of your intellect. Therefore, speed becomes very important. Like, you cannot give, if a person just bangs down the door, a child comes, okay, of whoever is waiting, what are the hurdles are, the person just runs down the chamber and without any hesitation doesn't even think that he can bang his head. So will you give a Baryta to this child? No, because the speed is fast. You can see impulsivity, you can see there is lot of hissiness also, there is hurriedness also. So therefore, Baryta will not go definitely to this child, right? So this is where the speed comes. You will never give a high speed remedy, Calcaria ka, because Hahnemann sir has mentioned according to the speed also, there are group of remedies like carbons, right? They all belong to the quality of having low speed or a medium and average low speed. They are dull constitutions who are very hefty, slow, dull mentally also and dull emotionally. So they have lot of, like it's like a charcoal which is burning inside and you see all ash outside. You don't see the heat which is burning inside, right? So similarly, the speed of the person will also define the constitution again. So when we are coming to the totality, natural urges, desires, attachments, they all play a very important role. Sensitivity of the individual, which we have talked so many times about, the example of a glass which falls down on the floor. The glass will always say, I am fragile. I am sensitive to a slight hit and I will break into pieces. Whereas when you talk about a wood, the wood will say, no, I'm not fragile. But yes, I am sensitive to water, to heat. If you burn me out, I will turn into ashes. But I'm very sturdy, I'm very strong. You can keep it as a piece of furniture at your home. I can be a real good artifact of your life. I can give you lot of energy into your life. So that is what the sensitivity belongs to the constitution. Okay. So that also we have to consider. Then you have tolerances, again a sensitivity, a part of sensitivity and about the physical general. Few people will say, I am such a sensitive person, I cannot tolerate so much of heat which is coming from the sun. You know, ma'am, April I never get out of my home because it's so sunny over here in Nagpur. It's impossible for me to tolerate the sun heat and it really hits my head and my migraine shoots up. So I cannot talk. A person coming to me would always say ki every time it's a full moon and I have to have my menses. So periodicity is so marked and I cannot tolerate this Amavasya and Purnima because I feel I'm very sensitive to it. Then cosmic affection, which I was talking about. I am never well since I was exposed to that eclipse. I have a case where the patient said ki whenever there is an eclipse, I get very uneasy and after that eclipse, I find myself that I've never gained that health. What happened? बोले मैं अपने friends के साथ I went in that eclipse and I was being exposed to those rays and immediately I started having burning and immediately I started feeling uneasy and after that I've never been normal. There are patients who come to me and say ki, like they have sensitivity for cold and weather. They are like barometers, they call themselves. Because we are so sensitive ki ma'am, before even you will find some clouds which are covering the sky, I can sense that there is a change in the temperature or in the pressure gradient and I start feeling suffocative. And that is also a capacity where the person can perceive, and this is also oversensitiveness. How many people you must have seen who can predict that clouds are coming up and they are just covering? It's there in petroleum, right? They are so sensitive to the weather changes. You know? There are so hypersensitive remedies like CPR sensitive to new moon and full moon changes. You have a whole rubric for sensitivity to moon phases of life. sensitivity to sun, sensitivity to crowded places, sensitivity to damp cloud weathers like rustox, natum sulf, they all come for the cloudy, damp weather. Then you have mental changes, which is the emotional aspect or the change disposition, which is also very important in evaluating a totality. So Hahnemann sir has effectively said in aphorism number 5 that when you are assessing the whole constitution, then you have to investigate the constitution of the patient, especially when suffering from the chronic disease, that you have to take his will, moral, intellectual capacity, his mode of living and habits. I'll tell you, you need to understand what communities these people are coming up from, what specific social backgrounds and social changes these people are exposed to. Like some communities, they have certain rituals that they follow, and they have got certain constitutional habits which are there. So, which we see is very important is there are certain rituals which are followed. Like some communities have early marriages, which are there. Some people have got a lineage that they will suffer from a lot of what you say congenital disorders. Then some community we see that sickle cell becomes very common in them. Some blood disorders become very common in them. So we need to know what social and domestic background they have, how interpersonal relationship of this person will affect, and does intellect have this interpersonal relationship playing a role in developing a constitution. Then age, sexual function, everything carries a meaning and a value when you are analyzing the case, and that has to be given lots of importance, especially when you are evaluating the totality. Because when you are coming to the GCS, what is GCS in predictive homeopathy is called as genetic constitutional simillimum, which is a simillimum used for a chronic disease. Okay, so we have to assess that. As we all know, nothing goes beyond miasm, and there are 3 miasm, that is sora, psychosis, and syphilis. So when you talk about sora, it is the basic physiological need. So if we are talking about intellectual capabilities, then how will we define the sora, psychosis, and syphilis even in constitution? I will just take an example over here. Even when you talk about the different facets, right? Morally, a person can be soric, psychotic, and syphilitic. Intellectually, a person can be soric, psychotic, and syphilitic. Behavior-wise, the person can be soric, psychotic, syphilitic, and even by emotions. Taking back to the previous slide where we have taken the understanding of the whole constitution, where we have taken the sensitivity. So when I was talking about some people having so high sensitivity for the clouds or that change of humid weather which is coming up, is it not something beyond a common constitution will have? But if the person says ki before the incidents happen, before something happens, I'm able to perceive it. So this is heightened sensitivity, which is not normal to every individual, right? I am sensitive to heat, doctor. If there is a burning wood, a burning fire, if I touch, I am like this reflex. So this reflex or just protecting self from that heat is what physiology is what sora is, because that is the primary need. If you don't defend yourself, you will be destroyed, right? If an intellectually dull person comes to you, the person will not be able to defend self from these primary things, because that self-defense, that fear of getting injured, the fear of life, fear of survival, all gets destroyed. And the child who is coming to you with a syphilitic background where the whole sensitivity is destroyed, they don't have that sense and they keep biting themselves, they bang their heads, they behave so weirdly, and they don't even have that judgment that if I fall down from this place, I will injure myself, right? So you will see that this is sora, psychosis, and syphilis at the intellectual planes also, right? At emotional plane, if I talk about an anger, like at the soric level, if someone just comes and talks to me and I'm slightly irritable, right? I will say, please don't talk to me. I'm not in a mood right now. Let me calm down myself and I will come to you and talk to you tomorrow. Okay. So this is a pure soric response where there is a slight irritability, but it is not out of proportion. The speech, the sound, and the reaction of that individual is not going out of proportion. Then, when it comes to psychosis and anger, which is psychotic, I might hold on everything. I might use some sarcastic language where I will say, "Tumko kya pata? You know, how you will know." You know, I will just hide my emotions through few words where sarcasm might come up, right? So that is psychotic anger. But when it comes to syphilis, right? When Sora, it was irritation. Psychosis, it is suppressed anger. In syphilis, it will be like complete destruction, okay? Where I will be so destructive, I will bang things, I might even kill the individual. मुझे ना परेशान मत करो. I should kill you, I should slap you, I will murder you. It's not only till here over the heart, but it goes to the action of becoming very destructive and aggressive in it. Fine. So when it comes to syphilis, as we all know, ki even SORA, psychosis and syphilis is applied to all faculties, right? If I talk about fear now, if you know ki fear is simple fear, I have a fright, suddenly light goes off and I have fear of dark, I will be like, I'm like not feeling comfortable in the dark. But when it goes something beyond SORA to psychosis, it will be a fright reaction where I am feeling like where I will go timid, I will go and just hide myself behind that scene. And when it goes to syphilis, sudden light goes and I go into a panic episode. I'm not able to handle myself and I start screaming and shouting at the end of the voice, and even I can lose my emotional balance and the intellectual capabilities are blunted at that time. Okay. So when emotions are being overpowered, the intellect, when emotions overpower the intellect, the person loses the capacity to make proper judgments. As we have seen, out of fear, people just jump out of 13th floor, 15th floor, out of the building where they will never survive. Okay. So when it comes to syphilis, the intellect gets abrupt. The intellect doesn't know what is right and wrong. The intellect doesn't know what should be done at what time, and there is destruction. Okay, so nothing goes without touching miasm. So miasm is base of understanding everything. Okay, so now someone will ask me, ki, ma'am, how to evaluate totality of different cases which are coming to me. So as we know, ki, there are cases which are soric, which are psychotic, which are syphilitic, and which are totally destructive cases. That is syphilitic cases. Okay, as we know, in physiological cases, the cases where there is a lot of dynamism, okay, but here still the biochemistry has changed, but they are very acute in origin. Like you see a lot of fever, diarrhea, vomiting, right? So you give importance to ailments from. This ailments from can be an emotional ailment or a physical ailment. Like a child coming to you, a chamomilla child coming to you, screaming, shouting at the top of the voice, shrieking, continuously irritable, having loose motion since last night. So you have to ask, what happened yesterday? There was an anger prank because the child was absolutely normal till then. So what has happened? So this is complete physiology. Okay. So here the importance has to be given to the cause, to the ailments. Okay. Then when you talk about pathology, where there is still physiology which is existing, right? So you have blood pressure, you have diabetes, you have hyperlipidemia, okay? Where it's still at the physiological level, the structural tissue changes have not yet started, like a primary hypertension, where the blood vessels are under pressure. There are pressure gradients, right? In migraine, as such, there is no pathological change which is there at the blood vessel, but there is congestion which is being targeted at the level of the blood vessels. and therefore these congestions give you a huge headache. It can be a neurogenic headache, it can be a vascular headache, it can be a cluster headache, anything. I'm not talking about migraine or headaches because of some space occupying lesion where there is a structural derangement. No, I'm talking about where there is still physiology but going into some tissue or organ affinity. Okay, so here again emotions carry a very valuable role. As you have seen cases like, we have discussed cases like diabetes, cases like hypertension, cases where we see emotional pathology, where emotions play a wonderful role in developing the diseases, where still the emotions you can connect to the cases, right? So they are the physiopathological cases where physiological changes are due to pathology and there is hypersensitivity. So they, at the emotional level also, you can see lot of emotional and mental emotions which are there. Okay. Then you have structural changes where there is lot of psychosis into it, which is like a lot of derangements which are there at the structural level, which is an adaptation to the continuous pressure which is there on the cell or the tissue. Examples is lumbar spondylosis, liver cirrhosis, hemorrhoids, where the structure has actually changed. So there you need a GCS covering all the innate character and considering the seat of the disease, that is the pathology. So here it is very important to evaluate the complete and based upon the totality. If you have some syphilis, catch it, otherwise prescribe upon the GCS. Now, when the fourth part comes up, where there is a complete destruction which has happened, the tissue has lost its complete identity at the cellular level and the functional level also, where the disease has developed into syphilis. Here, the intellect, the intellectual capability, the will and moral becomes very important part of prescription. Here you have to consider the delusions, the deliriums, and definitely the intellect cannot be left over in this part. Okay, so as we know, this intellect is very important when you're considering the GCS also. As per the intellect of the person will receive the emotions also, and as per the intellect, you have to prescribe the totality. Now, what is mental makeup as per what Hahnemannian guidelines are? So when you talk about the whole mental makeup of the person, when you're talking about the constitution per se, when you're talking about man in disease and not disease in man, then his will, his intellect, his moral, his natural traits, his emotions, his fear, anxieties, attachments, sensitivities, tolerances, likes and dislikes all become very important in evaluating the totality. When we are entering into the intellectual part, we know that there is difference between brain and mind. Where does anyone can tell what is the difference between a mind and a brain? Anyone who wants to participate, please put it in the chat box. What is the difference between mind and the brain? So are we using all the brain controls? Are we under the control of the mind, or mind is under our control? What? So there are so many thoughts which are present, okay? Approximately, yes, mind is function and brain is structure. Brain is anatomy, which you can see, and mind is something, the capability at the physiological level, the capacity of the brain to execute endless things in this world, okay? So a human brain is the most advanced and the most developed of all the species. This we all know. And as we all know, we are continuously evolving. Each day we are something new of what we were yesterday. Okay. So definitely mind is something which is very out of control of what we can even think about. The capacity of mind is endless. Okay. It's the limitless power, because at the physical level, you can see some centers which are present at the concrete level. When you see, you dissect the brain, you can see that there are different centers. There is cortex, there is medulla, there is amygdala, there is midbrain, there is hindbrain. They are all the different structures. But when it comes to the mind, then you cannot find a mind inside the brain, right? But you can see through the activities we can do. If I'm talking right now, I'm utilizing all my memories of my past. I'm analyzing that memory and I'm presenting it to you in the form of a lecture. But at that the same time, you cannot see my mind. Can you see I have certain antennas, just they are just tangling here and there are neurons which are tangling? No. So mind cannot be seen, but every person will have its own mind, right? The brain doesn't mind you. Mind controls your brain. Okay. If you have got 70,000 thoughts per day, a normal individual, okay. So can you imagine if the neurons, if I connect the neurons, it will be more than the Eiffel Tower of a single individual. It's so many things which are present inside this skull. Okay. So every brain activity becomes very important, and brain is again divided into a conscious mind and a subconscious mind, and which needs to be connected when you are taking the whole history. And you have to understand key how every thought process is getting executed in and can be converted into energy. Okay, so you see what capacity, what we are seeing at the conscious level is just 10% of that iceberg, which capacity the whole subconscious mind has. Even now, when I'm talking to you people, I have one thought which is going in the back of the mind, that is missing, I have to do this, I have to that, do that, and everything is getting uprooted gradually, and consciously we are just seeing this faculty through what logical thinking, critical analysis we do, and long-term memory we have. This is all the part of the conscious, because we bring back when I'm talking to you, right? This is something which is consciously I'm doing. I'm trying to retrieve whatever saved in my brain of my past, whatever knowledge I have gathered through the readings I had of homeopathy, through the experiences I had all through my practice, and I'm integrating everything, and then I'm presenting to you in the form of language using the words, vocabulary of English, integrating into a common language so that it makes you feel comfortable and understandable, so that you can also comprehend it. But this is all happening at a conscious level. But when it comes to a subconscious level, it's very deep down. It has been years of journey which is there inside my brain, which is there as an experience. I have some imaginations which is working. Yes, when I'm talking to you, when I was talking about the classroom, I had that imagination, a classroom full of 40 students and teacher is, so that picture was running inside in front of me. Okay, so subconscious mind is made up of your belief system which you have developed over period of time, and this belief system is something which is integrated inside you, which is coming genetically from your parents. Like if I'm a Jain, I was being introduced by my parents like you're a Jain, so you have to follow vegetarian, you have to follow non-violence. These are the rituals we follow because this is the belief system what Jains have. Then at emotional level, as a Jain, it was given to us that it has gone so subconscious mind ki even if an ant comes in front of me, I will never have that intention of hurting it. So that has gone to my belief system because I believe my firm faith is in non-violence and bringing peace. Okay. So when I have that belief system, I will be able to control my emotions also. We believe in fasting. So when days come up, we are able to control my hunger also. When it comes to fasting, or what today's world say intermittent fasting, because my belief system is that we are Jain, we follow intermittent fasting. So at night time, I'm able to control my appetite and control my food habits also. And then I will have certain things like, yes, I know how to control my senses also. So that is all coming from my subconscious mind, which is being imbibed through so many journeys, right? Another example I will say, I find so many children around me we see on the internet at 2 years of age, at 3 years of age, they are able to narrate so many Vedas. They are able to play memory games, right? They are able to play piano at such an early age. They were not taught also. Rajanu, there was such a good mathematician in the world who was able to calculate so tiny things also at so preterm age. There are so many children who can solve so difficult puzzles. From where that is all coming, right? That is all coming from the subconscious mind, which is not related even to this world but also to the past world. So when you talk about intellect, so what scientists say, it is an ability to learn, the ability to solve problems, the ability to recognize problems. So intelligence is an ability to learn and understand things. The way I'm delivering, every one of you will try to comprehend it at your own level through your own intellectual capabilities. If you have practiced 5 years of homeopathy, you have knowledge of predictive homeopathy, you will find that all this thing is just a revision to you. But if someone is very new, they will find it ki, yes, it's interesting. Something seems to be very interesting. Something is new going. But someone will pick up only few nuggets from this lecture and practice it in it. So everyone has got a different intellect. The power of knowing to distinguish between, it is not that I feel, right? It is something, those negative emotions, and they will just put fire on this petrol and they will just burn everything out. So people will solve these problems according to them, according to their own will and capacity. So rationally, how you integrate the knowledge is the capacity of the intellect. So now when you talk about intelligence, it is your understanding, how you understand the things. If I give you a riddle, if I give you a puzzle over here to solve, if this puzzle is there in front of you on the desk, someone will pick this blue one, or someone will try to pick the green one, or someone might pick the double colored bracket, but everyone will try to solve this puzzle according to their own capacity. How first is you will understand it. Someone will try to understand it from the upper corner, someone will try to understand it from the lower corner. Comprehend, I have solved so many puzzles in the past, so now I have that capacity. I can actually mix everything and create a concrete puzzle within minutes. I have my past memory because I have been solving these riddles so frequently that now it is just on the fingertips. Then I have a good judgment where the cube has to be fitted. This all depends upon individual. Someone will make very quick decision and solve the riddle very fast, and someone will take slow decisions, and someone will not be able to decide. Only I don't know where this will fit into, and I'm not able to judge it because there are so many cubes which are lying here and there, and every cube seems to be a riddle for me, so I'm not able to solve it. So someone might not be able to decide also. Okay, so this is the faculty of intelligence, which is a part of totality. Now, how it is part of a totality and how you express is also intelligence. So, as we all know, we are evolving and we are born from a single cell to a multicellular. But the first thing which comes into existence is the genetic material having the X and Y chromosome. That is also the genetic information being transformed to the child from the parents. So again, it is right? It is again the intellectual part which is being transformed, and the first thing which develops is the neural crest. Okay, the neural tube, the neural crest, because the mind of the body has to come up, which will control everything. The cell will grow ahead. Okay, and the most important thing even in a cell is the nucleus. Okay, that is the controlling unit, but that is called as mind of the cell. Even the plasma membrane, which has got so many neuroreceptors, so many receptors, that is also mind. That is also how you perceive and how you react. As we all know, we start our journey from unicellular to multicellular to the whole evolved individual. So as a structure, the brain, the neural crest, it starts developing. The neuro development, it's there as a physiological. But when it comes to higher functions of the intellectual capabilities like calculation, memory, is all the part of higher function, which is in the third trimester, which is developing in the third trimester. And as we all know, nothing goes untouched without the emotions of the mother in the womb, right? So, a fetus who is growing inside the mother's womb also has its own sensitivity and perceives everything which is there. So, even in learning disabilities, it has been noted that everything which was there in the mother's womb plays an important role. So, if I'm intelligent, we see so many people who are intelligent, they are born intelligent, the whole family is very intelligent. We see that they have got an excellent capacity of mathematics. We see that the whole family is well sound with good brains, with good intellect. The whole families of doctors, the whole families of engineers. Then we see ki mother is with poor intellect, the child is with poor intellect. The mother was not able to take decision, the child is not able to take decision. So everything is also coming from your inheritance as a genetic makeup, which has been transformed from your parents to the child. The most important thing is when you're dealing with learning disabilities, what is the cause of the disability is the key of prescription. Okay. So when you are dealing with cases like mental retardation, okay, mental retardation with learning disorders like ADHD, autism, neurodevelopmental disorders, then the cause is in the second trimester, that is the 6th, 7th month, where the neural connections are building up. Okay. But when it comes to the intellectual capabilities of memory, like learning disorders, diseases which come under dyslexia, dysgraphia, the cause is in the 9th month because the mother is comprehending everything and transferring the knowledge, but every intellectual capability of learning disorder is during the 8th and 9th month. Then if you have intellectual capabilities which are very high, which are destroyed because of certain pathological diseases, the cause needs to be different. Like in Down's children, right? They have got a certain intellectual disabilities, comprehension disabilities. Then the cause is not in the 8th and 9th month, but the cause is at the mutational level because of the mutational disorder. So you have to divide everything accordingly, and the cause has to be correlated with the mother's womb when we are dealing with all these cases having intellectual affections. The most important thing now coming to homeopathy is that, as we all know, the whole body is divided into the 7 bodies, what we say as the koshas, theory of kosha. There is Annamay Kosh, there is Pranamay Kosh, Manamay Kosh, Vijnanamay Kosh, and the Anandamay Kosh. When we dealt with the different totalities where physiology, physiopathology, pathology, and destructive pathology came up. So there we have given importance to, when you're talking about destruction, we gave importance to the Vijnanamaya Kosha, that is your wisdom, the higher mind, the inner conscience, value, belief system, and intellect. So when you're dealing with diseases where there is complete destruction, even in cancer, I will say, this Vijnanamaya Kosh needs to be given importance rather than the Annamaya Kosh and Pranamaya Kosh, because Anna is what? Your physical body, your cell, your DNA, your nerves, organs, tissue, your hand, everything which you can feel, which you can see, you can through your senses, is everything called as your physical body. Then there is an aura. Everyone has got its own aura. That is the energy field which is around. Example is when you meet some higher conscience people, like you meet your guru, you go to a temple, you feel that it is vibrating with high energy. So that is your pranamaya kosha. Then you have your emotions, your feelings, your likes, dislike. I give an example like someone scolded me or someone just banged something upon me. I got frightened. Okay. So that fright, I cannot see that something came to me. I just got hurt and it affected me. The person scolded and I got hurt and it got affected my physical body, right? So that all comes with your manamaya course, that is your emotion, feeling, likes and dislikes. But when it comes to destruction, please don't take only emotion. You have to give importance to the higher conscious or the Vijnanamaya Kosh. Then your whole brain, what we see, is divided into three parts. You have a cortex, that is thinking, logic and memory. That is where everything is being processed. Then you have a brain which responds to whatever feelings and emotions you have. Like I said, I got frightened. Okay. So that is the role of limbic system, where the amygdala will tell, just protect yourself, because in the past someone has hit a ball to your head and you got so badly injured. So whenever something just comes, I get that memory and my body goes into that response that I have to protect myself. No, I had pain from that impulse. I don't want. Then there is a reptilian brain which is coming from ancestors. It is an evolution from millions of evolution which has come up, million years of evolution. So in the past, we might had some experiences where the survival was at stake. So we have a natural fear tendency of just surviving. Even a child doesn't need to be taught. Okay. So there are certain impulses which are there, which are from our past memories. So that is what a reptilian brain is, or that is what the instinctual brain we say. So this is what the whole constituent of the brain which is being divided. Now we will take each sector of this brain and understand it at the repertorial level. This is very important to understand कि when you talk about brain, you cannot talk about brain without lateralization. What does that lateralization mean? We all know कि a right side of a brain is controlling the left side of the body, and left side of the brain is controlling the right side of the body, because there is a crisscross which is happening. Few people use left hand, few people use right hand. It becomes very important when you're evaluating a constitution. There are certain techniques to understand it is right-handed or it is a left-handed person. Okay, just ask the person to clap. The hand which is above is the handedness. Okay, this becomes very important because you understand what faculty of the brain is more active. If the person is right-sided, then they have lot of intuitive thoughts, because right is responsible for intuitiveness, holistic perception, how you sequence everything, how you emotionally think about everything. Then you have non-verbal, like gestures. Without even words, you can communicate through your emotions, through your gestures. That is also part of right side. You enjoy more of creativity, writing, art. This is all the right side of the brain. Okay. When it comes to the left side of the brain, then you are more of analytical, because right hand is for writing, right hand is for making work being done. So this is more analytical. This is oriented perception. Then you have verbal cautious, lot of planning, maths, aptitude, logic. Everything comes on the left side of the brain. So this is very important even in totality understanding. Then you have right brain dominance. So people who have right brain dominance are very sensitive, they are creative, they are artistic, they are poetic, spiritualistic, philosophical, hysterical, with illusions and delusions. Why this becomes important? Because there are so many remedies which are coming up. Okay, so you have remedies who have got right-sided affinities. There are remedies who are coming with left-sided affinities. That becomes very important in analyzing the case also. Then, because this is the faculty of the brain, it is equally important in evaluating the totality. So when you talk about left brain dominance, you see they are analytical, positive, logical, mental qualities, language, money, calculations, everything is coming on the left side. So right side and left side needs to have perfect balance, and we are just using 20% of our brain. Then you have different intellectual capacities, what we say. So different facets of intelligence are there. That is visual and spatial, linguistic and verbal, interpersonal, then intrapersonal. then there is logic, there is musical, bodily, natural. Now, how homeopathy lands into this and how you will apply this into homeopathy. So when you talk about spatial, okay, so we have so many patients who come to us and they tell you, hey, ma'am, you know what? I don't have that judgment. Like it is very commonly said, ki girls do not have traffic sense. They will show their right and they will turn to left. They don't know how to judge their bonnets when they're driving. Okay, so that is all spatial intelligence. When you're walking down the stairs, you know ki this is the height of the stair, the leg has to be put that way so that you don't hit or bang the staircase. Then even recognizing the patterns, there are people who cannot, there are so many tricks which come up in today, where you will see ki they are not able to solve puzzles. Okay, they say, as I said, for myself, I was not able to play with the carom board because I was not able to judge. I'm not able to judge ki if I strike this hard, it will go to that end. There are so many people who are intellectually so keen that a single swift and they strike the board. Okay. So there are people who are good at puzzles, recognize pattern, interpret visual well also. Then there is bodily kinesthetic energy or intelligence. Like example, as I said, in the class of 40 students, there must be a person who is very bad in academics but very good at sports. He was very good in volleyball, in cricket, but academically very poor in mathematics or very poor in languages because they don't understand. But when they are groomed very well, they have that skill of developing into sports. I had my nephew, he was my patient also. So he was very hyperactive, very aggressive, very angry as a child. But when this counseling was done, when we came to the remedy, we saw that during his free period, he would just draw perfect cartoons which were very beautiful. The teacher would say that the person who cannot hold a pen so well, how can he draw so creative drawings of these cartoons? And he would just play with them as flashcards, creating a story about that. And then gradually we came to know he is very good at playing cricket. Now he is at the VCL. So therefore he was so good in his bodily kinesthetic intelligence. That is that assessment. If I kick so hard, I will achieve the goal. That is all coming under this part. Here, sportsmen people, they do come. They have got excellent physical coordination. Like I was today morning seeing a video of a hooper. That girl can well hoop with 3 to 4 rings at a time. She can balance it so well. We see in so many talent shows, people can balance themselves on the rope. They can balance over the cylinder. They can balance so many glasses above the head. They can balance even earthen pots above the head. That is all by bodily kinesthetic intelligence. And you will see these individuals, they are very stable, very strong-willed somewhere because they have that sportsmanship. You have so many movies which are there for strong-willed sportsman qualities. That is determination, right? That is perseverance. That is pertinacity, right? Physical power increased, physical energy more. They are restless people because their physical capability is very high. Okay, so they have got sports spirit. Even if they injure themselves, they don't have that fear of injury. Okay, so when you come about this, then you will find individuals who have lost that fear of injury or they have just blunted it and they are very adventurous people. You have seen so many people, they like so much adventure, they go to Himalayas and they enjoy all those adventurous sports. Okay, so they are adventurous. So we have rubric adventurous. Okay, then few people have got aptitude for music. You don't have to teach them. They are beautiful piano players, they are beautiful into flute, they are beautiful into dancing with rhythm. Okay, so you have rubrics dancing, not mania, but dance also, music aptitude. People like Natramur gets ameliorated when exposed to music. Tarantula will love jazz. But when it comes to Natrum, they will love old romantic songs. Antimony, romanticism is there. They love making poems and verses. Okay. Then linguistic intelligence. So, as we know, even our stalwart Dr. Hahnemann sir was multilinguistic personality. Few people have command over so many languages that they can easily write and read so many languages at a time. So you have easy memory for language, right? They can hunt the words very easily. They don't have to struggle for word hunting. Then there is mathematical aptitude. So you have so famous personality on her. The movie was also made. She was called as Computer. Okay. Can anyone tell me the name of that movie on which this computer lady was there, because she could solve and she even failed at that time the calculators which were there because she was so quick. Yes, it is Shakuntala. She was so quick into calculation that other calculative capability was so high. So calculation aptitude for is an rubric for her. Mathematics aptitude for her. Mathematical Ramanujun, he was a mathematical scientist. After 100 years, whatever theorems he has written, now also people are not able to crack it completely. So they are fast into problem solving. They have got excellent intellectual capacity which is beyond a normal intelligence. So that is also something very PQRS. You cannot give Baryta to these people because they are so intelligent with high mathematical capabilities. Okay. Then you have interpersonal intelligence, like they are the people like carcinosin. Okay. What carcinosin is, they get connected to animals. They are animal lovers. They are nature lovers because they are so strong emotional intelligence, because they get connected to people by heart. You don't need that intelligence to connect to the plants, but you need a heart with that strong intelligence to connect to the nature, right? So they are the people who have got that naturalistic intelligence. They are good botanists, zoologists. They connect to animals, they connect to plants, they connect to people around the stones. They are so adventurous. They will go inside the ocean, they will connect, they will find all kind of jellyfish, everything they will say. Then there are people who are intrapersonal intelligence, like they can easily go into trance. They know how to control their senses. They are highly people who are into the highest peak of self actualization, what we say. So all metals who are selfless remedies, who are working for the society. The conflict war of Aurum is what Aurum has suffered because of. Can anyone tell the Aurum conflict for Aurum is that unworthiness. I feel worthless. Who will feel worthless, or who will feel that I have not played the role of higher existence? Only those who have this intrapersonal intelligence very high. So all those people who go into high meditative phase, people who work for the society, people who work beyond their own personal needs, and they just devote themselves because they reflect more into their own life rather than other people's life. So their high self-awareness and own feelings trying to control. Okay. Then there are remedies where I got to know about a scientist, about a priest today, who could control his breath for 10 minutes, and he could control all his physiological process, which was unbelievable. So is it not PQRS for? So this is all facet of intelligence only. Then cognition. Okay. So cognition is what? When a person is prefer to information processing. Cognition is what I will tell you. I had in my past a judgment that this is the height, and if I fall from this height, I will just break my hands or I will not be comfortable. So I develop of a judgment that this is a comfortable height from which I can jump, and that is fine, okay for me. But some children, they feel like they can themselves, right? They know how to play the games even at the heighted places because they have that judgment. Because if someone does yogasana अगर कोई करता होगा, तो you all know कि before going for yoga, yoga is very important in maintaining your cognitive capacities. I have seen yogis who practice yogasan, they have got very good cognition activity, and therefore yoga helps in building good cognition. And therefore when children who are, what happens today is, in today's world, when it was way before, children would actually play on the grounds. They had lot of physical memories, they had lot of interpersonal intelligence which they were using, how to play in a group, how to handle so many people, and they were actually developing so much of cognitive capabilities. Okay, their intelligence, their problem solving was very good, and therefore they could handle the stress. And in today's world, the children are not playing, they are not allowed to play by the parents so easily, and therefore they lack that cognitive capability, and their stress handling is so poor. People before used to play football on the ground, they used to hit their hands, they used to hit their head, but still again they had the capacity to come back. Okay, so they were very strong willed. And today we are playing football but on the video games. Okay, so we don't experience that injury, physical injury we don't experience, so our cognition is going gradually down, and therefore the stress handling is gradually reducing. So these are the faculty of cognition. Will include coordination, perception, how you plan, how you analyze, how you make decision. So whenever you are taking a case, ask a person how the person, like extra example I will tell you. Yesterday I got a case of a teacher. He was a principal. Okay, the whole story was like he was strong willed, or not that, sorry, weak willed and lacking confidence, and he was very anxious. But how will you understand which remedy to take up? Then if it is a Baryta, how will a principal of school, being a Baryta, will handle things? So he lacked is the analysis, he lacked the thinking capability of decisions, so that it should benefit him also and to the school also. So what he said yesterday was, he was into ashram, is a school where people stay locally. So what he said is, Ki ma'am, I don't keep calculations in my school, and daily vouchers I fail to record, and every month I have to spend 15,000 from my pocket to compensate that money. So can you believe, will an Aurum do this? No, definitely not. Will a sulfur do this? No, definitely not. So he was missing that calculation in somewhere, because he had that fear of mistake. He had that fear कि अरे मैम भर देता हूँ because I don't want to spoil everything, and इतना time नहीं है. I have to do everything all alone. I am an accountant also to the school. I am a teacher also to the school, and I am principal also to the school. So I admin everything I have to handle. So these vouchers I cannot manage, and I go into every loss. So is it not stupidity? You cannot have those analysis कि you're paying from your pocket. Who will do this? So somewhere a person doesn't have that analysis of making a judgment. So the remedy went to him was from a Kalkeria group. Understand? So this is how cognition, analysis of problem solving, decision making. You have rubrics like irresolution. You have rubrics like obstinacy. So when a person is not able to decide what I have to do right now, ma'am, when two things come now, should I take an appointment now or should I take it later on? Should I call you right now? Are ma'am, how is the medicine to be taken? This all is what the cognition is. Some of the patient have got the habit. They will come and every time ask, ma'am, medicine kaise lena hai? Don't you know? So why you have to come back and again ask me ki how to take it, right? But they are so precise. They want to know either because of the anxiety or because they don't have that intellectual capacity from the past ki how to handle it. Okay. Then how they process the whole information, how they coordinate with it, everything. Your management skill is also a part of cognition. So therefore, when the children have got good sportsmanship, they are into good sports, they have got good managerial capacity also. So you don't need to teach them, it is imbibed into them. They know how to control them, they know how to generate new thoughts, they are more creative and more, because they have got good analysis, they are good success in the future also. So different parts of brain have got different cognitive skills. different areas which interpret differently. So because of the symptoms also, because when you see an MRI of an ischemic disease or a children who is born with MRCP, you will find in the brain that there are certain locations of the brain which have got affected. Okay, so you need to understand which part of that brain is affected, and accordingly that area should go. Okay, example, I had a case of cerebral palsy child where the occipital lobe is affected and the vision of the child is very poor. But I'll tell you, his sense of smell is very acute now. So acute that he will tell, matlab, he was standing away from me in the next chamber, near the next chamber door, and he tells me, he talked in Marathi saying, ki, who has put this flowery smell to me perfume? You have used a perfume, okay? And that of flower. I had applied the perfume on the morning, and in the night he's coming at 9 around, and he can sense that smell so beyond. Then mother says ki this child is intellectually not good, not so sound, but in spite of this he can have that acute sense of smell, and he can tell you what is being cooked into the neighbor's house. Okay, then you can understand ki if the vision is affected, still other senses are very sharp. Okay, especially the sense of smell. So you have to take a remedy which has got this acute senses. Okay, then if you know ki this problem, this frontal lobe is for your personality and behavior, as we know ki if this frontal lobe is affected, the person will have very aggression, anger, lot of personality disorders which are there if the frontal lobe is affected. So if you have children who have got this depressed, this forehead part, if it is very broad, okay, so you say ki they have got good problem solving and they are very intelligent. People used to say ki this part is very prominent, a very intelligent person he must be. A small forehead like this, a Baryta will have. Okay, then people have this depressed over there, and they don't have this forehead so prominent, so they have don't have that personality which is very, so they have lot of animal behavior in them. Okay, then if the ischemic area which has affected the temporal lobe, then there is hearing which is affected. Then if the brainstem, it is for the survival. So if survival is at stake, if the lesion is at the brainstem, then the important reflexes of survival are not there, because brainstem injuries are very dangerous to the life, like pontine hemorrhages and all. You have got near death experiences and absolutely comatose state where you need artificial ventilators or something on which you can depend. Then you have parietal lobe. So sense of touch comes over here, spatial perception and visual perception, like whatever I'm reading and I'm visualizing. So people who are not able to read, okay, not read in the sense like they are not able to comprehend what they are seeing, will come into this part. Then you have cerebellum, which is for coordination. So people coming with gait disorder, imbalances, coming with tremors, they all will fall into this cerebellar ataxia or cerebellar disorders or cerebellum. There is a rubric, cerebro, ceri, encephalo, encephalon, all this, brain anemia, sclerosis of brain. Those rubrics can be used in such cases. Okay. Then if the cognition of the person is impaired, there is memory loss, forgetfulness. The person is not able to concentrate or focus on the task. The patient, as you all know in today's world, as I've said, people have gone into virtual world rather than the real world. And therefore, when today's children are said no, if you tell them, ki no, I will not give you this, they throw tantrums. They become so violent. They don't know what judgment has to be done, where they are, and they just hit their parents. They start striking their parents. They bite their parents. They hit everything which is there in their hand, and they become very violent because their cognitive capacity has gone down. They cannot organize. If you see the room, what people say about Gen Zs today, right? why Gen Zs have come up so, why all these things of intellectual capability was not talked before, why Gen Z millennial has come in over this 5 years only, because we have depend upon ourselves upon the social media so much, upon the virtual world so much, that I had an example, I will tell you. It was just start of the COVID, and because of the COVID, there was a lockdown during the first phase, and due to which the children had started working on the internet, and everything was working from the home. So this patient came to me, and he started saying ki, I have become very irritable these days and I don't find anything interesting. So he was brought by the girlfriend. Ma'am, he was not irritable so much before, and he would just listen to me. Now even if I'm saying ki please, please also, then he will just bite on me and he will just become a weird personality. I don't know what has happened. And when during the case I observed him, he said, ki, when I'm talking to you, I feel ki, I don't know on what world you are real or unreal. I cannot recognize. Even I am feeling in front of you ki, I get confused ki I am seeing a movie or this is real. Oh my God. We came to know ki he has lost that integrity of reality and unreality. And this has happened because he was an IT. So he was continuously working for 18 hours. And he said, Ki, I love video games. So whenever I find time after my work, I'm continuously playing on video games. And this has become so much of addiction to me that I cannot come out of it. Okay. So therefore, when he has become so much irritable and he has lost that stability of real and unreal world. So this is what cognitive impairment in cases will be. Okay. I had a case who was like, he was being who went to USA. He was very sound when he was in India, and when he went to USA, he was so much pampered by parents in Nagpur that when he went to US, he did not know how to manage himself alone. He was so much dependent. He was continuously on gadgets. He was a loner. He never knew how to play with children. So when he went to USA, he had to handle himself all alone, and he failed to do that. And he went into major depression. He went into aggression. He went into addictions because he said ki I had that fear of loneliness, and because of that fear of loneliness, whenever I used to sit alone in my room, I used to feel that people are creeping me and trying to injure me, and therefore just to get out of it, I used to go for addictions. Okay. And that fear of insecurity, that fear has mounted him so much that he went into addictions just to create a what you say, euphoria, right? A world which is unreal. So he started enjoying that unreal world, and he went into, because in the past he did not have a good cognitive capacity, therefore he went into all these problems, and therefore he went into so much of a phase of elated moods, and he started going into that unnatural and unrealistic world. And therefore, because before the children used to have so much of physical games, their physical capability is so high, and today's children, they don't have this, therefore their cognitive skills are not good enough to cope up the stress, and therefore early child you will have. I have children at 8 years, 9 years, they have started using vape. It's a kind of e-cigarette which children are using. Early addiction also. So addiction is also not a part of emotion, but also a part of intellect. Because in addiction, children like to go into unreal world. So when you are treating addictions, even if it is alcohol, it is drug abuse, it is alcohol dependency, please consider the delusion which is there inside the mind, the fears inside the mind, out of which they are trying to run an unreal world they want to live into. Okay. So please try to connect it. Okay. Then rubrics for cognition. When it is a poor cognitive skill, the decision making power is very less. So the rubric here is irresolution, confusion of mind, right? That is what I said. My patient had confused state. The connection between the real and unreal was gone. It was a confused state of mind. He was like, I don't find this is a movie going on. I see this is all movie going around me, right? So this is confounding. Then this is dullness, comprehension difficult. Disconcerted is again going into delusional phase or a phase of confusion of mind. Confounding, mixing two things together. It's called as confounding. Like, ma'am, I don't know. I have to go to the left. This is my life, right? When you say lie, right? See, I'll give you an example of confounding. Come on, everyone, please pay attention over here and for 2 minutes sit quietly and pay attention to me what I am doing. And I want everyone to touch their chin and and just follow me what I'm trying to say you. So when I'm trying to tell you all ki just see to me what I'm doing. Can you see me? Can you follow me? Can you listen? Can you see me? Right? Okay. So just unnoticedly, whatever I'm doing, just do it randomly with me. Okay. Raise your right hand up, left hand up, right hand up, left hand up. Put your hand on your chin. See, you got confused, okay? Few people did not put it on the chin, just they were following me randomly and their hand went here rather than coming here. Okay? Those who have done this with me before, like few people who were very consciously aware what I'm going to do it, they didn't get confused and they just followed what I was doing. Okay? They just put their hand over here and only 1% could do it here. This is chin. This is forehead, but because you were randomly doing, this is confounding. So this comes up as a part of confusion coming overhead and you do it. Then absent-minded. How will you see absent-minded into the practice? Absent-minded is like in the class, the teacher always say, when I am teaching this child, he's always looking out of the window. Tare zameen ke. And he's not present in the class. He's present physically, but mind is occupied somewhere else. Preoccupancy with some other thoughts. Okay. So preoccupancy with the thoughts or not present physically present, but mentally out to the birds. Okay. Observing the birds, observing the sky, observing the wings of the sky, and what is going in the class is mathematics. So I'm not aware of it. So that is exactly absent-mindedness. Then fancies confused is a rubric of cognition. Fancies confused matlab, that is what I said. When this person who used so much of gadget, he lost the real world and the unreal world. So here you can use the rubric. I will give you a very beautiful example of schizophrenia over here. Where the person says he was staying in America, okay? In USA, he was working as an ITN. But he was here in Nagpur, a very social person. When he went over, there was no communication with the world and he was into his own world. And gradually, there was an incident where he just met with an accident and he was being taken to the jail, to that jail in USA, that he has broken some rule and he was put into the jail. After he came out, because he was there fasting, he said that I was not being provided by food properly and I did not like because it was too embarrassing for me. So I did not have food. But once I came out, I started like he would talk like, ma'am, that Obama is behind me and he feels I am a culprit. I am, and he is trying to kill me. So I don't want to go back to USA. He came down to India and he stopped stepping out of the home. He was 26 years when he was brought to me. He was confused with all the fantasies he had that Obama wants to kill him. Obama has sent people to just arrest him and he has broken few rules and still those rules are being followed by me and he will not step out of that home at that room and he would just talk about Obama. And there I was taken this fancies confused because he got confused with the reality and he was into his own fanciful world where there are so many delusions which are there. Okay. Then there is thoughts vanishing. So thoughts vanishing is one thought coming, other coming. Thought coming, another going. Thoughts coming. Ma'am, I cannot control my thoughts. So many thoughts come and they go. I just think I should talk to you and I feel, yes, I cannot talk to you. Why did I come to you? What I was going to talk to you? Suddenly, I went to the fridge. I wanted to. Why did I come over here? That thought vanished. While talking, it vanished. I don't know. what has happened. Okay. Then indiscretion is again a part of irresolution where the person is not able to decide it is right or wrong. Okay. So indiscretion is like, I should buy a red pen or a black pen. No, no, I will not buy with a black pen is a black woman for me. I will not do this. But red, no, yeah, red will not look good on this paper. So what should I do? Should I purchase red or I should purchase black? This is indiscretion. When you are not able to decide, again, indiscretion has to be evaluated because this is wonderful rubric to find the remedy inside. And you will find that indiscretion is going very deep, so you have to analyze the case at the intellectual level to understand what decisions and how decisions he take. You have to ask how is working on the desk, how is working at his place intellectually. And ma'am, sorry, I got late. Why did you get late? Ma'am, I was not able to decide which shirt has to be worn. Manika, why? Because so many white shirts are there in my cupboard, but one is half and one is full. So Manika, if it is white, so why you have to be so confused in white? No, ma'am, I was just searching ki which one of white will look good on me. I was like, what stupid he is. If he has to wear only white color, and in that white color also he has got not many choices because it's white color. Then what color sense will it make in look wise, right? So this is what indiscretion will be. Confusion is when you have two thoughts coming up, but it is like a baffledness. But indiscretion is not able to decide between two things. Okay, again, it is a part of faculty of confusion only, but indiscretion is definitely like irresolution, not able to make a decision between two things. Okay, what is to be selected, this is right or wrong when it comes up. Like confusion of mind will be two things coming together, but indiscretion is when there are two options given, you're not able to decide which is right and wrong. So like hands, you call about left handed and right hand, and people are like they show the right signal and they turn to the left side. Okay, this is also indiscretion. Okay, then imbecility is complete insanity. It's like insane, not able to world real. This is insanity, right? Wherein this is complete madness also. There is a very beautiful video of imbecility coming up, indiscretion coming up, where people are like, if you all have seen, where people are just going to what I will say, uncontrolled purchases. Right? In Sir's book also, there was a lecture on sulfur where Sir has described the person had a collection of 200 caps. Is it not insanity? Somewhere madness. People are mad behind purchasing so many helmets, so many, apart from if you are in that world of glamour, but if you are just collecting to the end of madness, like imbecility ka very beautiful example. Few days back I got to know there was a female in USA who has kept 200 cats in her home, and she was diagnosed with a disease. It was under a mania that she has collected cats. They died also, they puked also over there. It was all filthy and dirty, and they were kept in very bad position. This is also a madness and imbecility where the cognition capacity of that individual had been lost. So now what cognition active will be? So comprehension easy. Yes, you can easily understand what I'm talking, what I'm teaching about. You make many plans and execute them. Not only making plans and theorizing, but you have an active memory which is there, and from the past also you have a lot of active memory which you're utilizing. Then theorizing is like when you make so many theories. A sulfur is a theoretical person where they analyze scientific background is theorizing. Okay, they have their own theories, they have their own experiments, and they just play over it. Then concentration active. Some people have got so penetrative confidence, concentration. You have seen those videos where the person is able to balance the stone one above the other, right? And they are able to balance that stone so well that it is astonishing the way they balance it. Okay, so that balancing is also concentration. Then concentration so deep and penetrating that they can move the things around them. They if you have seen that actor, if you all know, I will just say the concentration of that person is so swift, even if the walls are moving, he can put his hand, come back. He is whom? Can anyone tell me the name? The actor who was being known for balancing his body, for concentration. Bruce Lee, yes, yes. He was being known for his swift, his concentration. So the remedy belongs to the constitution is somewhere he was so active in his concentration, his physical kinesthetic, kinesthetic memory is very good. He can balance himself so well. So ideas abundant. Okay. So you have so many abundant ideas. You are scientific that you cannot. I sometimes tell my children, "Ki, arey, it's so difficult for me to sleep because I get so many ideas. Once a thought comes to me, ki it's a bomb blast inside, and I get so many ideas, and I'm not able to sleep because of those ideas." Some people are very quick, a swift of movement, बोलते हैं ना, someone just ishara is kafi and everything is all done. So they are so quick, they are swift. Ronaldo, he is hyper energetic, he's quick, his concentration is so high, a ball coming to him will never go out, right? Wittiness is definitely something which requires a lot of brain. Without brain you cannot be witty, because wittiness also needs that malicious capacity, that presence of mind to answer, to reply, to play those tricks. So you need that cunningness inside also to be very witty, to be that intelligent. Okay. Then thoughts rapid, hastiness, impulsiveness, counting aptitude. There was a case where sir had given on the basis of mathematical aptitude. Many times I have seen him prescribing. There was a case who said, ki, sir, I keep on counting wherever I go now. I will keep counting. That is involuntarily. If I'm sitting here, I just counted the stack of chairs kept over there. But sir said, why do you need to count this? I'm not giving you the task. Well, I cannot stop my brain from counting. Okay. So that counting involuntary was there as a facet of his intellect. So sir prescribed on that basis. Lycopodium was also a remedy which was there in discounting. So there is clairvoyance. Again, clairvoyance is again a faculty of high intellectual capacity, where the people are very, they have high cognition, they see, they visualize the things beyond the mental capacity. Professing and clairvoyance is again in cognition part or in the intellectual capability of the person. I hope you all are enjoying this lecture and you are there with me connected. Then, as cognition we have seen, then the second part is the perception, is how you look into the things. For me, if I'm from this part, everyone has got their own perspective, what we say, but perception is like if you see a dog as a lion, oh my God, it's a big lion, right? But for the other person, such a poor dog he is. Oh my God, such a tiny piglu he is. But for the other person, oh my God, it's a huge animal with whom I cannot fight, and I have that fear and fright. So what will come under perception? If someone, in a case you see the perception of the person is affected, then what is the problem? In perception, can anyone tell me what is perception problem will be? The problems of perception, any examples? What should be inquired in perception, or what has to be dealt with in perception? So all your delusions, hallucination, illusions are your false perceptions. So when you talk about delusions, they are the false beliefs which you cannot be consoled about. They go into your belief system so deeply that you don't want to just come out of that belief system, and you get affected. That is what your fixed emotions will be. And then hallucinations and illusions are misinterpretation and misperceptions. In hallucination, there is no external stimulus present. Therefore, this is more syphilitic, because there is nothing which is present. Like I will start seeing people. I can see someone who is talking to me. I go to the room and I see, oh my God, there is no one around. Still the person is talking, and the person, I had this case of schizophrenia. The person will call, ma'am, come here. See, I have brought my mother with me. And mother, please tell what the company. And I'm like, who is there next to the chair? Because there is no one. And with whom she would always say, I carry my mother and I'm talking to the mother. Okay. So there was no perception only, but still she was talking to unknown people, imaginary world. So this is hallucination, which is more destructive. But in our repertory for hallucination also we have rubrics under delusion. Then there is illusion. So in illusion there is a stimulus which is present, and that stimulus is always there, but it is being wrongly interpreted at the brain level, like a rope being seen as a snake, or the person sees, I saw some ghost over there, and when you see there is a white sari which is hanging down over there. So there is a stimulus, but they get that perception which is wrong. So there, this is illusion. So when thoughts become chemistry, whatever thoughts you have, whatever you're perceiving from the environment, it goes into the neurotransmitters, and that neurotransmitters start getting it converted into the thought processes and the behavior. So how will you get rubrics of perception? What will be the rubrics of perception? It's misinterpretation of reality, first thing. So as I said, illusions and hallucinations, they are all over here, and there is a confusion of mind, and therefore you're interpreting it in a wrong way. There is fear, there is panic state, and therefore you're interpreting it as danger in your life. So there is lot of delusions. So there is a list of 250, 300 delusions in our repertory. You go through it. All delusions are false perception. Comprehension, difficult. Again, it is because of perception, and therefore I am not able to comprehend it in a right way. Okay. For me, maths is the most difficult, and whenever I see numbers, I see them jumping. Okay, it was there in Tare Zameen Ke, shown very beautifully. I see 4, 5, 6 just running here and there, and I'm perceiving it as a danger to me, and I find them butterflies running here and there. So how will I comprehend the formulas there? So I will have a comprehension difficult, unreal everything. They are into their own world, and they are into that, they lose the connection with the real world. There is fancy's exaltation again, because of lost difficulty in perception of the right things. They go into that fanciful phase, and there is fancy's exaltation of insanity. Again, is a faculty where your perception and intellect both are getting affected. An insane person cuts himself or perceives everything in a wrong way and reacts rather than responding weirdly to everything. I'll give you an example. There is a lady just near our square. Okay. So whenever someone claps, she starts abusing, cursing. I don't know, if someone honks anything, no, nothing happens. If someone goes and even talk to her, nothing happens. She will never bang you back. But if someone just claps in front of her, she will use so abusive language that you feel scared ki what has happened. So she perceives it as a stimulus which provokes her in a wrong way. So this is the insane state of the mind. Then you have rage and violence, because you are perceiving the reality out of proportion. So you're reacting also out of proportion. Like, I had a case yesterday, just it was a screening, and he said, yeah, I am very disturbed mentally, and I get very furious, I get violent, and for a fraction of second, I get that impulse that I will even kill the person. That anger goes out of control. I have broken mobiles, I have broken TV screens. That anger goes out of control because a slightest stimulus is perceived to me as a danger, and I cannot control. Hyparsal, impulse to throw the child out of the window. Impulse, that fear, if I see a sharp edge, I will kill my child, right? A fear that I will kill the child. Mancinella is there, Merck is there, Hyparsal is there, because they perceive it as something which they cannot control. So they say, keep these places, sharp, penetrating things away from me, because I cannot control myself. Religious too many. So religious mania, okay? They perceive, like, I will say ki people have become too superstitious. Okay, so that is also perception. A single stimulus, cat bahar se gayi, just pass the road, and they perceive it as a danger. No, I will not cross. This is a bad omen. No, everything will happen wrong way. So they are very ritualistic. They are superstitious, and they perceive everything in the wrong way or a wrong sense. Someone sneezed and they will say ki this is a bad thing and I will not do this. They become rigid. So they are too fastidious. So arsenic, that they have delusions of being dirty, everything is filthy, washing mania. They want to frequently wash hands. They want to frequently, no, I will not go to that hospital. Kaun jayega? I will get infected. That fear of infection, and because of which arsenic goes into washing mania. And this is because the perception of arsenic is wrong, because it perceives that everything is injurious around him, everything is contagious around him, and that fear of infection inside the mind of arsenic is out of that perception disorder. I hope I am very clear. Those compulsive thoughts in patient, I want to check the locks, I want to check the window, I want to check the gas knob, I want to check I've kept everything in order, because of those compulsive thought, because I perceive that I might be robbed. I have that fear of being robbed. So that is there in the perception. Then rigidity, I cannot change. Kalis, I will not change my routine. You tell everything, but they will not stop. They will impose their anxiety to other. They are so rigid. It's like on the time clock. Minute means minute. They're so dogmatic because they feel, they perceive themselves. It is not others only, but it is about themselves also. Platina. I am royal. I am kingly. No one can compete me. I am the best. So that rigidity in their thought. So they perceive everything. So they have that delusion in platina. That, what is the delusion of platina? Come on, write it on the chat box. That talks about something which they perceive everything. It's a perception. It's a false perception of platina. Delusion king he is. That is perception. I feel everything is below me. Everything. I am royal. I am Platina feels I am unique. I'm royal. This is all coming out of rigidity of platinum. Okay. And that perception that I am king. Superiority complex of platinum. Thoughts aversion is also in perception. Then new ideas aversion is also perception, because this is again a faculty of cognition and perception. Ki I perceive, ki if I start thinking, no, I don't want new ideas. I am fixed, I am rigid, and therefore I will not accept any new thoughts. I just have aversion to any change. Okay, because I get confused like Barytas. What happens in Baryta, why they don't change? Because they have that confounding, that confusion inside them, that if I make a slightest change, I won't be able to comprehend. I will not be able to, because I am so rigid inside, ki a slightest change makes me baffled. Like, even if someone keeps this pen somewhere, my mind will not be able to search it, and therefore they don't want any change in their life, and therefore they do not accept a new thought also, a new idea, because my mind cannot recognize it, my mind cannot perceive it. I keep it here. I saw my friend's cupboard one day and I was shocked. Oh my God, all the clothes were just jumbled up, pushed inside, and I said ki I won't be, and left is left, and if I don't get, how will you get clothes into it? Well, no, don't arrange my cupboard. मैंने कहा क्यों? All are connected or you have vanished. Yes, thank you for responding. So now we are going ahead with delirium. As we all know, delusion is fixity of thought, but delirium is physiology. Delirium comes when there is an imbalance at the physiological level, like during fevers, electrolytes, diabetes, and ketoacidosis, or something like hyponatremia. All these faculties where the brain loses the coordination and loses the balance. This is delirium. So this is disorganized thinking. There is fluctuating phase of mind where they respond acutely to the stimulus, and there is really a confusion phase, and this is an acute disturbance. Difference between delirium and delusion is that delirium is more physiological and delusion is more pathological. So in during fever time, if the person comes to you and the person is, ma'am, the person will say, ma'am, my wife, Arey, I'm your wife. So he doesn't even identify his wife. Then you have orientation decreased, right? So they are disoriented because of the electrolyte imbalance They feel that they are not at home, they are away in some jungle, their speech becomes delirious. You talk to them and you will say, and you cannot even recognize what they're talking, and they will talk all senseless, delirious speeches, all senseless talk. देखो वो मुझे ले जाने आए हैं मेरा, and what language. Even I will tell you, I had a case where I had taken a rubric, talk in foreign language, because the mother said ki in our family no one knows English, and this fellow has so fluency in English, but he cannot speak normal Marathi and Hindi, which is our mother tongue. But मैंने कहा, he must have seen mobile, he must have learned anything from mobile. No ma'am, he doesn't see even mobile, and I'm very surprised from where he is learning all these vocabularies, because all this is not what is our daily routine is. So this is speech problems. Then concentration difficult, they feel crazy, you just hold them and they just try to run. You will see in hospitals, especially in ICUs, they say that it is called as ICU psychosis, where when the patient are being kept for a long time on ventilators on because of comatose state, they go into a weird behavior where they behave very crazily, and that can be taken as delirium. So delirium jump, escapes from bed, delirium business talks of, like bryonia. If you will talk about bryonia, they have hyoscyamus is also here in business talks of, because they talk about all deliriums and they talk about all business. You talk to them, no, मैं नहीं आता, पैसों का प्रॉब्लम आ जाएगा, कौन मेरा धंधा संभालेगा. You talk to him anything and they will talk only express about the business. Delirium changing subjects rapidly. You talk to them, how are you? You know what? I went to the market. Okay, in market, what did you purchase? We went home, we cooked food. Are from market, when did you go to home? The patient will say, पता है मेरा कल एग्जाम था. Okay, when was the exam? Then mother will say, no, there was no exam yesterday. Still he was continuously rapidly. Then exam था, फिर है ना हमने घर पे जाके खाना खाया. अरे exam was in school. Now you went home. So there is such a talk where he is rapidly changing subjects and he is even confounding what he's talking. Then he talks as if intoxicated. क्या पता आपको क्या हुआ मेरे को. So they feel that you will see them, they are so dull, drowsy, their eyes is like this, heavily, as if they have drunk. And you will find, are you really drunk? So this is intoxicated. Then look at fixed spot, that is staring. A person will just give you a staring look. क्या हुआ इनको? तो you will hear, the parents will tell, जब से फीवर आया मैम ये ऐसे ही देखे जा रहे, हार्डली ही इज ब्लिंकिंग हिज आईज एंड ही इज जस्ट स्टेरिंग, एंड आई एम रियली वेरी स्केर्ड कि इनको भूत लग गए क्या. So they have a staring and scary look. Then you can take in delirium also septicemia and sepsis, because this is one of the major causes for delirium. So this is what false perception because of physiological imbalances is considered as delirium, because it is a temporary change. It's physiological without any pathology. Then as we all go ahead, you have intellect as a central nervous system and you have a peripheral nervous system. So peripheral nervous system, if you talk about, so you have sympathetic and parasympathetic autonomic nervous system. So in parasympathetic autonomic nervous system and you have a sympathetic autonomic nervous system. So this nervous system, as you say, it is flight and fright response, or this is a rest, that is called a survival mode, and this is called as a growth mode. Why? Because when you are relaxed, I relax you. I'll ask you to take long deep breaths and then release it. Then again 3 long breaths and then release it. And when you are feeling too much stress, just keep your eyes closed, put the hand on your heart, calm down yourself and just relax. Give yourself that I am calm, I am relaxed, I am feeling very happy and very calm. What will happen is that you have your pingada nadi. That is what your right side of the nasal mucosa, nose is the parasympathetic nervous system, which activates the rest and the digestive mode of the body. That is where the growth axis is stimulated. So at this time, when you are slowed down your heartbeat, you are taking deep, long, comfortable breathing, that means you are enjoying everything. You are at the body is at the rest zone, your extremities are relaxed, the whole blood is really being flown equally to all the organs, and this is the growth phase where the DNA will grow. And here, even you enjoy all your natural urges also, like your sexual energy is also very high at this time. There is growth, so you enjoy everything. You enjoy music, you enjoy painting, you become creative at this moment. But what if I tell, come on, you all have not done your homework, you don't listen to me, you don't do anything else, and I'm barging and just put hand, oh my god, there is a throbbing heartbeat. Now I'm breathing very fast. So this is where I put you on the fire. Okay. At that time, when I put you on the fire, you will feel, ma'am, sorry, and you don't, like, you become blank. You become absolutely blank and you don't know how to respond, and you just give up. Either you will give up or you don't know how to fight with the stimulus. So those people who don't know how to relax, those people who don't know how to relax, they don't have good cognitive skills. They are always in this sympathetic mode. That is a mode where you are in the fire in the mountain, run. And if you are always in that running, and I tell you ki tap your hands, tap your legs, you just clap, you start breathing, but your breathing is very fast and very shallow breathing. So this is the mode where there is survival mode, and where you will have lot of beta waves which are there in the brain. So this beta waves in the brain will reduce your focus, your mental capacity. So when there is fire in the mountain, you don't even imagine. I said you na ki impulsivity, hurriedness, hastiness all comes in, and the person who went into panic, phobia ki phase, they all lose that cognitive value and they don't have that judgment. They just jump out to save themselves. The fear overpowers them and they don't know how to balance themselves. And therefore, when you ask the patient कि when in the stress mode, because of this sympathetic state, there is lot of cortisol which is being released in this stress state, and the disease comes in, and because of which most of the people will tell you कि they get diabetic, they are diagnosed as hypertensive when that is the life's most difficult phase of the life. And exactly opposite happens when you are in that calm meditative phase, when you're breathing long. That time your mental focus, your cognition increases, and at the same time you are able to do so many things at a time without committing mistakes, because you are in the perfect homeostatic balance. And therefore, when you ask the person to go and practice pranayam, this is where the parasympathetic activity is being stimulated, and this parasympathetic activity, when stimulated, the person goes into a phase of meditation, a phase of increased mental focus, and they can do multiple things at a time. That is the reason where our Rishi Muni could perceive something beyond the intelligence. If you see the temples which were built up so early, they have all the great scientific things being used even in those days. So when you talk about this autonomic nervous system, we also cannot miss about the good IQ and the good EQ, because today when we are talking about all the activities of today's world, so all the activities of today's world are pushing you more towards the sympathetic autonomic nervous system rather than relaxing you, and because of which the people today are lacking that emotional quotient. And in today's world, it is well said that for your growth you need to balance between IQ and EQ. So you should learn how to respond to the situation in an optimum way rather than reacting to it. So those people who are impulsive, who are hurried, who are violent, who are rage, they don't know how to balance their ego. Then I have a case of a small child. His intelligence is excellent. His IQ is almost 110. Okay, but his EQ is very poor. You talk to him and he will like be, yeah, I don't like coming here. You keep on asking me questions. Anika, why? Because you take my father's name and you know my father is not my father. I don't like him. Okay, then please, bacha, talk to me. I am good to you. Okay, you come to meet me. No, I don't like, because every time I come here, you keep on asking me, how are you? How are you? So he doesn't have that attachment. He doesn't have that gratitude. He keeps on blaming his mother. She's just like that. He keeps on complaining, and he doesn't have a good EQ, and therefore he could not adapt into a school which was well built for him. We had to move him to another school. Almost four schools changed because he did not have any friends. I don't like making friends. They all are fools. That maths teacher, she doesn't know how to teach. I'm so intelligent, I can solve the problems like this. But he doesn't know how to emotionally connect to the people, and therefore he's a loner. And then he keeps blaming others. This is where the IQ is not balanced with the EQ. So, this is a beautiful connection which I saw in children in today's world, because EQ is equivalently important when you have to go to a managerial level and you have to manage so many things. So, rubrics for EQ and good IQ will be like, if you have negative EQ, you will be hard-hearted people, you are malicious, you are vindictive, you are unsympathetic. Okay? How hard-hearted? Like I said, he doesn't have any gratitude for a mother because mother is single, upbringing the child singly, and still the child doesn't have gratitude. Ki, yes, my nani and my mother are struggling so much to earn bread and butter, and they are giving me best opportunities to grow in life. And he says ki, are he in Marathi, he was very rude and very abrupt to talk to the mother. And whenever he used to come, my mother always keep on complaining of headache. What headache she has? Why don't you give good medicine to her? Like, Are, she's working so hard, she gets exhausted, and you trouble him. What I trouble? You don't know what trouble is. I don't trouble. These people trouble me. So this is what attitude these people will have, because this is what the conflict of today's world is. People say ki we have made children who are very gadget friendly. Their intellect is very good, they can solve gadgets very well. But when it comes to interpersonal relationships, so many divorces are happening. When it comes to tolerance, so many intolerance attitudes are happening, because of which there is disconnection. The families bonds are getting broken. So this is all because of emotional quotient which is not developed. So there is so much of jealousy, intolerances. They feel being strange. They feel being surrounded by strangers. Delusion, being surrounded by enemy. They will do exactly opposite what you say. They cannot tolerate contradiction. Every time it is said ki please give vitamin, which is most important to the children, is vitamin no. Because vitamin no is essentially equal, because if you don't give vitamin no to your children, they have a bad emotional quotient, and in future when it comes to building up relationship, they are very poor in interpersonal relationship, which is a part of intellect also. So they don't grow very well. Okay, then you have positive emotional quotient, like people who are benevolent, sympathetic, generous, affectionate, caring for others, social people, precautious, because they understand, like carcinosin, they have got a very good emotional quotient. Phosphorus, a very good emotional quotient. Even pulsatilla is very emotional. Natramute, because of being hurt in the past, they don't know how to handle their hurt. They don't know how to balance their IQ with the EQ, and they go into withdrawal. Okay, this is where you have to analyze the emotional quotient of the person, how the person is dealing with the stress, and after the stress, how he has developed interpersonal relationship. Ma'am, after that disappointment of love, I'll tell you, I hate all the males of this world, and I cannot trust any male in this society. And therefore, I don't want to get married. So the hatred they develop, the misanthropy they develop, is because of that lack of emotional quotient they have in their world. I hope this is very clear how emotional quotient gets now, after emotional quotient, the most important part is the memory part, because we have gone through cognition, we have gone through emotional quotient, we've gone through perception, we have gone through all the faculties of intellect. Then we cannot miss is the memory. So memory is again a cognitive process. So you have long-term memory, you have short-term memory, you have episodic memory, you have implicit memory, you have working memory, you have physical memory. Like once you start wearing a jewelry, if you don't wear that jewelry for few seconds, you start missing it, right? You wear a heavy dress, okay? And after you remove that dress, you feel that weight is what is. Then you have memory of your senses, like you taste, you know what sweet is because you had that taste in the past. You know what salt tastes like because it is in their memory. Then you have long term memory, which is retrieved. You have long term memory not only from this world but also from the past experiences, which is coming from the ancestors, which is there in the midbrain, which we have seen, or sorry, with the brain stem and the ancient brain, that is reptilian brain, where the long term memory is stored. So there are so many type of memories, and this memory is at the conscious level and the unconscious level. So as I said in the previous slide, where it is the peak of the iceberg, so it is a memory which is at the conscious level, relating to the facts and events, where I am connecting so many cases of my experiences and I'm presenting to you. So I'm using my long term experiences because I have been repeating it, those facts, those concepts of the whole history of the patient I'm presenting to you in such a format of rubric interpretation that you can perceive it so well. So this is coming from those episodes of my life which I had with my patients. Okay. So I'm giving you so many examples of those children who have come to me and how they have behaved. Then there are semantic factual memory and factual concepts. Then there are few children who have got memories far beyond what we will think. Right? I have a child who is hyperactive, who doesn't even sit for a single moment. And for a flash, there will be something on the screen and he will go and draw it. You won't imagine that he was so hyperactive and beautifully he can draw it. So that is also his memory because he keeps it. That day he came to me and I said Gudi Padwa. Mother said no, he will not be able to write because this is a new word to the dictionary, but he could do it. He could actually write Gudi Padwa in a beautiful words, beautiful line. I had a case coming from Dubai. He is also an hyperactive child, but his memory for cars and the what I should say, he can recognize any car company and he knows the logo and he will draw all the logos. Throughout the case taking, he was drawing the cars. He was so much fascinated for the car. He will talk about the car. But when it comes to emotional expression, he had very poor EQ, very poor emotional quotient, constantly talking, babbling, a hyperactive child. Then implicit memory, which is unconscious memory. There was a case where sir had taken memory involuntary. Means what? Ki you don't know. Matlab, few cases they just say ki we don't know from where it is coming up. But I have suddenly started recognizing that this is my faculty. I was never a poet before, but suddenly I am able to recognize all those Urdu words also, which I've never learned in the past. So this is where implicit memory or unconsciously the things are coming. Memory involuntary is also a part of it. So you have developed some skills and some tasks which are very extraordinary, and like poems, words making is also a part of memory itself. Okay, so the rubrics or the difficulties will be like the learning disorders. So you have dyslexia, where the person doesn't know how to read the thing. There is problem in reading. There are so many children nowadays coming up that they are become so gadget friendly that they know how to use a laptop or a screen, but they don't know how to hold a pen because they have got a poor motor skill and they're not able to write. So that is all dyslexia. Then you have dyscalculia. So I am one of dyscalculia because I cannot calculate things. I find maths as a problem in calculating money. If anyone gives me, I feel like confused. Oh, what is to be given? How much it will be? So this is dyscalculia. Dysgraphia is difficulty in writing, especially in organizing the ideas. Orally, the children are very good, but when it comes to writing spelling, they will always create mistake. You ask them, Even the toughest, you ask Switzerland, they will say spell Switzerland very well, but when you ask them to write Switzerland, they will baffle. They will either make transposition बोलते हैं, there is a rubric transposition also, front को पहले, पहले को सामने, they will make a mistake in spelling it out. Then dyspraxia is when they have a problem, like if you will tell them ki keep it in that position, they are not able to play with those blocks. They are not able to place the things because they cannot judge the shapes properly and the position in which they have to be paid. Then dysphasia is understanding the spoken language. They don't understand what language we are speaking, and they, especially autistic children, have got this dysphasia where they talk into a specific autistic speech they have. Then auditory processing disorder is somewhere they have difficulty in what they have to say. They can read, comprehend, but language finds it difficult. Then visual processing is also misinterpreting. Like the person will say ki I cannot read these charts and maps, I'm very bad at symbols. People who cannot they are poor in trigonometry and algebra, spatially. The children will say ki I'm very poor in geography, I'm very poor in trigonometry and algebra because I cannot solve these equations very easily. Then rubrics related to good memory. Weak memory will be memory weakness. Memory weakness, especially for dates, especially for the names, spelling, transposing the letters, recent things done, mistakes in writing, concentration difficult. Then there are so many rubrics for mistakes. है ना? So all those will be related to memory because it is memory weakness. Therefore, they are making mistakes. Writing inability, confounding letters, transposing letters. So many rubrics are there over there. Then few I've taken. Good memory, memory active, involuntary remembrances. I say few people of involuntary remembrances will be also that they have their past life memories. You have seen so many cases nowadays. They tell ki suddenly the child started talking about her family, that I have a small child, I have my husband, the name of the husband is so and so, and when they go to that village they find exactly the same story which the child is saying. So this is what involuntary remembrances of the past is also coming up. Then memory good for read once, matlab once they read and they don't need any time to read it again, so their visual memory is so good. Some people have got a good audio visual memory. Spatially, I will tell you an example. I had a child of autism. The child, I don't know, he was never gone to school. He had never been to any classes because he was too small when he was brought to us. And I had that Lenovo ka laptop. And that those days, these Androids were not existing. So he would always say Lenovo, Lenovo. I said to mother कि how does he know this is Lenovo? बोले मैम हमको भी नहीं समझता है, but he can read these letters once he sees them. Even if we have not, she was not so much literate in English that she could teach this language to the child. But all the brands, all the names, even if the letters were there, in spite of no logo, he could read it. So he would come in front of me and he would just say Lenovo, Lenovo. So this was something repetitive, a robotic type of memory which was there, and he could produce what things he has read once. Hurried is also a part of good memory because they are hurried in talking, they are hurried in memory, they have got extensive speed. Creativity is also a part of memory because the people have got a excellent creativity. They can make good, beautiful poems, they make beautiful paintings and all. Then philosophical, yes, it is also a part of memory because you know how to interpret and integrate everything. Then verses make, so many remedies come in verses make. So they have got a very good intellectual capacity of organizing and playing with the words and the emotion. Few words and they will hit the emotion so deeply that wo dil ko chup jata hai, right? There was a recent song which went viral, right? Why? Because the song words, the verses were so deep, meaningful that it just hits and bang. So jesting is again, yes, as I said, witty. Even jesting, किसी का मजाक उड़ाना, मॉक करने के लिए भी आपको इंटेलेक्ट चाहिए. If you are foolish gesture, then it will go into Baryta. But jesting also requires a good intellect and a balance between intellect. Then only a good memory can have jesting. Clairvoyance, again, a good memory person, a high intellectual capacity will have clairvoyance. I have a Down's child. In that Down's child, the Down's child is absolutely intellectually, I find nothing. But whenever the parents would say, you ask him, you give him a date, and in the back date he will tell you what was the day at that time of the calendar. Even if you go 100 years before, he can tell you the date. He has so much of integration of that, mathematically he can integrate the dates so well. So sir had taken this as a part of clairvoyance, because this is again a part of memory, a part of intellect the person has. This is not emotion, this is intellect. Okay, so this is one example of what I was telling you about my children. This child, you can see the handwriting, a beautiful handwriting of Hindi, English. This drawing is just like he, once a vision is done, and he will, in between there was Mission Sindoor, and he has drawn exactly that Mission Sindoor. From where did he see, what he did, I don't know, but he can explicitly draw things very crazily without committing a mistake. Even if you will see here, there is no mistake in writing. He will write everything beautifully. He will do. There is no mistake in creating. He will do. There is no mistake in creating, and his creativity thoughts are, whatever he sees visually are being implemented beautifully on the paper. And after a remedy, the child has improved a lot. Now mother is very relaxed, because after a long time he has started sitting and he has started listening to the commands. And this is one of the examples. So this is where the intellectual capacity is very high of the child. So the remedy will never be like the remedies of low intellect. So this is the whole session about intellect. So because intellect per se, if I go only delusion, then delusion will have another lecture, because it has so many facets in it. But as intellect, if I say, you start from perception, you start from memory, you start from cognition, you have analytic powers of the mind is endless. The thoughts are endless. And this is what the whole session series is. Thank you. What intellectual capability, what Animan sir has talked about, and what intellect reality is when sir is talking about. And different cases, you will apply this whole lecture in schizophrenia, in insanity, in mania, learning disorders, mental retardation cases. So many cases you have seen in day-to-day life, and you have to just integrate it at intellectual level and just apply whatever we have learned in this session today. So thank you for all your participation, and this is something which you see day-to-day life. So I want all the students, all the participants, that you should live homeopathy. And I wanted to take a very light session today. So I hope this went very well. Autoimmune disease meditation, I think sir was very clear ki Dr. Aditya, the sir has given instruction, because few meditations, they just go take you to a delusional phase where they play with your kundalini and all. So such meditation and such false perceptions were not being allowed. And sir would always say ki such things would just make more mental imbalances. But yes, you can ask them to go for breathing exercises or meditation related only with the breathing techniques, because that is what will give comfort to the patient and not aggravate any symptoms. Okay, so it is very important what type of meditation the child, the person is doing. There are so many type of meditations which I have learned, and even I see. So you have to be very particular and precise which meditation. So meditations which are guided on the delusional level, like I attended few meditation where they would always say ki everyone is coming and having visions of all those gurus and sadhus who are not existing on this world, and they have talked with those gurus. So such meditations are not allowed. Please don't go with those delusional meditation. Please be grounded. Practice as with purity. That will really help you to maintain your parasympathetic nervous system. And when you go into high meditative phase, your beta waves go down and your alpha phase goes up, and this helps you to bring up your intellectual capacity also very well, and also to help you balance. If any patient perceive dead people present surrounding him, which remedies come first? See, I will not talk only about the remedies over here. You talk about the rubrics, because you have to match the disposition of the person before selecting the remedy. If it is the dead people, so there are delusion, dead people around him. There is a rubric over here. So please don't take directly the medicine. Go to the rubric, match the constitution, match the disposition, and then prescribe, even if it is delusion. Meditation can't suggest to active people. Can you be very clear with this question or with this query? Because meditation can be suggested to active people in what sense? Talking like cartoons on TV, no one talks in Hindi at home. He talks like animation. It doesn't look normal. Yes, there are so many cases nowadays, which even I am finding it, ki they have started talking like cartoons because they're mimicking. Actually, they have been so much into gadgets that they have started actually mimicking. So you can take the rubric mimicking. Talk animated also is a rubric which is available. So they are actually animated people, and they're mimicking. They are just reproducing what they are seeing on the screen. So therefore they are watching so much of cartoons that they have started behaving cartoons like, and if it has gone to the syphilitic level, even the rubric like identities error of can be taken, because this is at the phase of delusion it has gone. Because this delusion is like they have lost their own personality and they have started identifying them like the cartoon. I will give you an example. In my graduation days, post graduation days, in our OPD, there was a case who was presented that the child was very mischievous, and the child was so much mischievous that he would do a mischief jayega, he would just pinch his brother or hit something, and he would just stand like this innocently. And when we asked him, Ki, why do you do this? What happens when you do this? He said, no, I did not say. Minkat did. Who is this Minkat? Bole, everything he will do, and he would just blame it to Minkat. And we were surprised what Minkat it is. So he was following some cartoon or some child near him, and he was identifying himself as Minkat. So whenever things came upon him, he would say, Minkat, I told you not to do, and you did it again. So this is identity and depersonalization also. So you can take identity errors of it is very syphilitic then. A slight mimicking is okay, it's just for fun, it is psychotic. But if it is syphilitic, go to identity rubrics, because they have started identifying themselves as the characters of the cartoon. People can't sit for a while, can't able to concentrate, but they will go for physical active. In that case, how calm them, ma'am? Okay, you are asking for those people who are physically restless, okay? So I would say that meditation as such is not only sitting in calm places. Meditation, I will say ki for me, if I'm seeing a patient, I am completely getting engrossed into that case, and I just skip myself from other things in the environment. That is also meditation, is what concentrating so much deeply. So if a person is engrossed into playing a football, like for Ronaldo, football is meditation for him. For a painter, when he's painting, he is absorbed so much that he goes into that phase where he enjoys it, and it gives him that adrenaline kick, that dopamine kick, that he enjoys the whole process, and he just forgets the time and thing, and he brings like eternal peace. So even music can give that peace. So it is like if a person enjoys sports to that level, it's okay. That is what I've learned about meditation and known about what meditation is. Mother doesn't want pregnancy or child, which rubric? It has to be asked first ki why the mother doesn't want a child, or why the mother doesn't want to be pregnant. It can be because of fear of responsibility. It can be many things which are there. So you have to just dug up why the mother doesn't want the child. It can be like sometimes nowadays patients say ki, ma'am, we have not grown, so they don't want to grow, right? So they feel that they are still very small enough and they don't want to grow in the future. So हम ही नहीं बड़े हुए तो हम बच्चे को क्या बड़ा करेंगे? So they don't have that sense of responsibility. Continuously watching TV and mobile. I will say this is the most contagious disease today in the world. But if you find even yourself, even if to myself, I have seen ki in between I started scrolling lot of screen. So to get out of it, see, if I say a human brain, okay, I'll give you an example. There was a story. If I talk to you, and the only rule is if I play this game with you all people, you have to be very concentrated and I will give you a reward. But the only thing is ki if I give you a question, you have to answer me. Are you ready to play that game with me? It is 3 minutes game. If because it will be practically very helpful while handling and dealing with your cases and patients also. So this is a game, this is a memory game. If you are interacting with someone, you just keep talking to them randomly, right? What is your name? The person says, yes, I'm talking to you, right? You all are concentrated upon me right now. So if you all are present with me, you are seeing on the screen is Dr. Ruchi Jain with a photo behind me. So your thoughts are with me, okay? So you all are completely engrossed with me right now and you're not seeing anything else. And mind it, you all will be out if you think about a red sari. You have to stay with me with this whole question series. But if I tell you ki if in your mind a red sari comes, you all are out. Okay. So what is your name? Type it. You don't have to think about red sari. You type your name. Don't think of red sari. You type from which city you are. But don't think of red sari. Huh? If you have thought of red sari, you are out. Be conscientious. If you have thought of red sari, you are out. So can you tell me, are you very honest because red sari did not come to your brain? How many of you have thought of red sari because it does not have to come to the brain? No red sari, it did come, right? Whenever I said ki no red sari, you have to write down no red sari because you thought of red sari and then you put name. I said no red sari, still you thought of red sari and you have put the place of the. So when you are saying no to anything, the brain doesn't perceives this no. It takes it yes only. So if you say no, red sari will come because I gave you the stimulus that even though my sir's photo is there, my photo is here, still you could not connect to me. You connected to that red sari. So this is what our unconscious mind is and our brain is. If you prohibit something, you say no, that will first come to your mind. So for children, if you have to say no mobile, so don't say no mobile, just take them, get them preoccupied with something which they find interesting. You have to explore them. You have to take them to different parks. You take them to different places where they will really enjoy the whole process. And at that time, you can say them ki yes, they will be diverted. Like you and all. Right now, mobile is just near you. Okay, how many of you have just scrolled unnecessary to the mobile during the session? I think very few. If I was very boring, yes, you must have scrolled it. But if you have found me interesting, you would have not diverted your mind to other things, right? Because you found this interesting, you were with me throughout the session. So there was no diversion. So for people who want their children not to be occupied with mobile or TV, just make them occupied with something which is very interesting. Automatically, they will not be concentrated to the mobile and their focus will definitely increase. Because one more thing is the cognitive capacity of mobile due to mobile is reducing. Because if in our days, if you remember, we had a lot of street games and the movie used to be 3 hours at a stretch with only 15 minutes of interval after 1.5 hours. So our concentration span was that we could tolerate that 3 hours movie at a stretch. Chitrahar aata tha on TV, it was stretch. Then there were movies on Sundays, we used to sit for a stretch. But now we have a world of reels and shorts. So in seconds we scroll it, okay? This is just what a small child also does. So the concentration span is going down. The cognitive capacities are therefore reducing because even a concentration span of a adult is going down. So forget of children because they have so many antennas, so many impulses, stimuluses coming up. Therefore, if you reduce Don't make them master of many. Try them to master into one sport at a time. That will also help them grow their personality very beautifully. Okay. So don't compulsorily tell children to practice meditation. If they enjoy sports, let them do it. But one sport, make them professionally very grounded, very sound with all the discipline and expertise of that sport. They will grow very well in their life. Another question, what mother feels she's trapped and she doesn't want pregnancy? So you have to see ki what trapped feeling it is. It can be fear of delivery also. I had a case where she said ki I have that fear that the pain will be so excruciating that I will die during the delivery. So I don't want a pregnancy. I don't want to have a normal pregnancy also, because that fear, that pain is so excruciating that I will not be able to tolerate, is also a fear during pregnancy. So another question, a cerebral palsy child who 15 years of age and his gait is compromised, he is walking at home and is independent, he is not confident to walk all by himself outside the house. He wants his mother for everything. His intellect also weak, does not want to learn. Which rubrics can be considered? So what you want is him to be independent and want to settle in government job. Is this possible? If the intellect is sound, government needs certain criterias. I cannot say without assessing the IQ and the EQ of the child, ki how excellent it can grow. But yes, government is supporting such children. I have patients who have really grown up and they have occupied few seats where they are developing themselves. If he finds comfortable at home and uncomfortable outside, that is a part of his confidence which is not growing. He might have fear of injury when he's going out. When he's comfortable with the mother, matlab he's dependent on mother, he needs support, and he must be a constitution who has lack of confidence within. Kids talking to herself like playing some other's role, sometimes in her own self. Is it also identity error? No, it is not identity error, because talking to oneself in children is called as sometimes taken as common games which children have. And when children, they talk lightly, like they play like role plays they have, like I'm behaving like my teacher, I'm behaving like my father, I'm behaving like my mother. It's all absolutely normal. But when it becomes pathological, everywhere they start blaming. I gave you an example that is pathological, then it is not normal. Abstraction, absorbed, and fancies. Yeah, beautiful. Abstraction, absorbed, and fancies. I will give an example. If you all have seen a movie Jab We Met. So in Jab We Met, the first scene when they are in the train, if you have seen the Shahid Kapoor, the person who was sitting on that chair and he was completely lost, and the other female who was continuously talking, and this fellow is absorbed in his world. He doesn't even realize and recognize that fast moving light, when it passes off, then he gets like oriented. But when he was into his own world, he doesn't even recognize what that fellow is talking, what she's speaking about. And that is abstraction, is completely losing the context, losing the connection with the outer world. This is abstraction of mind. Absorbed is, I said, he absorbed is when you go so much into yourself, into like I go absorbed into teaching that I don't recognize what is happening around me. That is absorbed. And fancy is absorbed is I am lost into my world. Like you are teaching about homeopathy, but I am imagining something like astronaut. I am an astronaut. I am into the moon. I am into the sun. This is fancies, where you are into the fantasy world. Okay. So this is the whole session series. Let's call it end of the day. I hope you all have enjoyed this. And this session will teach you the intellectual capacities of the human brain, which is limitless. So this lecture is also limitless. I just whenever you see a person, try to intellectually analyze how the person is solving the stress. Then you can go and see the remedies which are there in the repertory. Go to the rubrics of intellect, memory, absorption, abstraction, everything is there in the repertory. You just have to explore it. Thank you. Thanks everyone. Spread homeopathy, spread Hahnemann, and spread predictive homeopathy. Thank you. Let's call it end of the day.